Hi everybody and welcome to the next project. This is the advanced level project, and now I would like to introduce you to the topics we want to cover together. So we will try to scrape data from truecar.com. This is this website. It's this one, okay? And we want to search for used cars, first in New York and then in San Francisco. So the goal here is to append two data frames together, or to aggregate two data frames together, okay? Our goal will be to scrape 5,000 results for New York and 5,000 results for used cars in San Francisco. So all in all, after we aggregate the data frame, we will have 10,000 results, okay? And in the next step, what we want to do is we want to output everything inside the SQL or the PostgreSQL database. Okay, so I will then introduce you to the PostgreSQL database, and finally we will output all 10,000 results and run SQL comments on that. Okay, so this is actually why I think this is definitely an advanced level project, and I think you will learn a lot. Okay, so this was actually the short overview of everything we want to cover in the next videos. And I would say thank you very much, stay tuned, and in the next video we start scraping data for New York. Okay, thanks a lot again, and I see you in the next one. Hi everybody and welcome to part 2 of the advanced level project. Now it's time to scrape the data for used cars in New York. Okay, this will be our first step, and therefore I click on used and used cars search. Here I need to provide the zip code, and I can actually look it up. So it's zip code in New York. Okay, and I will grab directly the first one. It's 1000 and then a 1. Okay, that means 1001. Let's make our search. And now you see that we have a lot of results, more than 60,000. This is more than enough for us, because for New York we want to scrape around about 5,000 results. Okay, so now let's start and take a look how the website works, and especially how the API behind this website behaves. Therefore, I make a right click, inspect, then let me navigate to the network tab. Okay, and now let's take a look. So actually what I mostly like to do is the following. I scroll down until the end of the page, because now you see we don't see actually anything, right? That doesn't mean that we don't have information. So here I want to go to the next page. Okay, this is it, and actually now we see directly 4 different requests. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. But this is actually everything for the second page. What I want to do now is the following. I scroll down again. Okay, let me do this step. Then I want to clear everything. Click on this button and navigate back to page number 1. Okay, and actually I've done my research and my preparation before I started recording this video, and I know that the valuable information is stored behind this request. Okay, but if you're on your own and you try to have, if you want to make a project or accomplish a project on your own, then you need to take your time and click through the requests and see if there is something useful for you. Okay, so for now I know that here inside this request we have the information which is necessary. So let me click on this one, and now inside this listings key, let me open it. You see here that we have all in all 30 information, okay, or 30 entries. Let's make a cross check. So here you can see that we have 30 results inside the first page. Okay, and this makes actually sense. And we start here from index 0 until index 29. That means we have exactly 30 results. We can make a cross check or a double check. Let me open the first one. Then let me go to, so let me just take a closer look. where our data is actually stored. So let's see, where is this? It's inside this vehicle, okay? And here we have, so let me go down, we have Mercedes-Benz, and we have the C class. Here you see that this is not Mercedes-Benz. Why? Because the first entries are actually paid ads, okay? So for example, here you see this is sponsored, this is also sponsored, and this too. So the first three list items are actually paid ads, and they are not captured inside this result listing, okay? So the first organic item is this one. So we have Mercedes C class. Let's make another cross check. So for example here, the mileage 29,641, and this is exactly this one, okay? So this is actually our, let's say, our proof that this listings key here contains all the results which we need, okay? And this is actually a very good starting point. Now, since we know that inside this request we have our valuable data, what I do now is the following. I make a right click, copy that, and copy as curl, okay? Now I search for the curl converter, go to the first one, paste it here, okay? And now we have converted the curl command to the Python request. I will now highlight everything with Ctrl A, then Ctrl C to copy that. And now I go back to the notebook itself and paste it here. Okay, this is it. This is what I want to have. And now let me also show you something. Here, for example, inside these parameters, we don't see anything related to a page, okay? As you know, we want to scrape 5,000 results, okay? And we just see 30 inside one page. And inside these parameters, we don't see any information regarding the page itself, okay? This is actually not so helpful. And this is why right now I go back to our result page. And now, if I scroll down again, let's see what happens if I use the request of the second page and not of the first page, okay? So right click inspect. So here, now let's go to the network. Here I will clear up everything and then go to the second page, okay? Now this is the listings. Let me click on this one. And now again inside this listings key we have all our information, but now we have the second page. Okay, so right click here, copy that, copy as curl, back to the converter and replace the old stuff with the new one. Okay, again, highlight everything, copy that, the updated Python request, go back to the notebook itself. Okay, and now let me just overwrite this request with the request of the second page. Okay, so highlight everything and then paste it. And now you see, once we use the request of the second page, this is actually the valuable information which was missing inside the request of the first page. Okay, now we can actually replace this number, let's say with number 1 or number 20, it doesn't matter. Now we have actually the control of the parameter when it comes to the page itself. Okay, and this is actually key. This is why I almost always recommend to copy the request of the second page and then to modify this parameter. Okay, so at least for this website, it was a perfect example why you should do this. Okay, but I mean, if on your own project in the future, you see that you also have this information inside the first page, there is actually no necessity to start from page 2. But here you have seen directly that it's definitely a better idea to start with the second page. And now it's actually quite simple. Let's replace number 2 with number 1 and run our cell. Okay, but before I do this, I want this import statement being here. Okay, so I will cut it out, paste it here, and I also want to import pandas SPD. pandas SPD. First of all, I will run this cell. Okay. And in the next step, sorry, I want to run all this. Again, we have the headers information, we have the parameters, and the request itself to the website, and this is stored inside the response variable. Okay, that's it. Let me just run it. Okay, no error message, this is fine. Let's check out the response code. So it's response. I just need to enter this variable here. Okay, this is great, 200. We have successfully made an HTTP request to this website. This is awesome. And in the next step, what we need to do is we need to create our JSON object. Let's do this. Let's say I want to write down response.json. Okay, let's run this one. Okay, and this looks actually good. And now I want to store this one inside a variable. Let's say it's result or results_JSON. Okay, that's it. Let's store it here. And this is right now fine. And you will see this is actually a JSON object, sure. And it's actually a dictionary. That means we need to work with key and value pairs. Okay, so we have the dictionary. And now let's actually output the keys of this JSON object. Okay, that means I can refer to this variable. So it's results_JSON. Okay, dot keys. And now let's see what we have. And actually we have this keys here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And if you go back to our result page here, you see that this is actually what we see right now here. Okay, and as you know, we need to make access of this key element. Okay, so listings, and here inside this listings here we have all our results. Okay, so I think I can make a cut here, and in the next video we are going to grab the data which is actually necessary for us. So thank you very much, stay tuned, and I see you in the next one. Hi everybody, and welcome to part 3 of this advanced level project. Now let's try and find our data. So first of all, what I want to do is I want to go back to my notebook, and here we already know that our results are inside this key element. Okay, so again here inside this listings key we have all our 30 cars. Okay, that means first of all, when I want to find the data, actually sorry, I needed to say what data we actually want. So we want to have the brand, the model, the information about the mileage, the year, and the price. Okay, so we have 5 different data points here, and we start and we want to get access to this listings key. That means what we need to do is the following. We make use of the results_JSON, and then I want to go for the listings. Okay, let's see. Okay, now this looks good. Let's see what length this actually is. So let's make use of the length function. Run this, and you see here we have successfully got access to the information that here we have 30 results. Okay, which is exactly what we have here. Starting with index 0 until 29 are exactly 30 results. And this is, guys, what we want to have. Okay, awesome. Now what I want to do, let me just copy this one. Yep, copy that and store it inside another variable. Let's say result_items. Copy paste it here. And now I have successfully stored this expression inside this variable here. Okay, and this is actually our starting point. That's it. So now what we need to do is, let's go back to this result. We want first of all to get the information for the first item. Okay, and then we can write our for loop, and loop through all 30 results. Okay, so this is actually the procedure right now. So first and foremost, let's open the first one. Okay, and let's see where we can find information about the brand. So this is our first data point. So it's here inside this vehicle key. And if we scroll down right now, we will see that our brand, so let me just make a cross check. Where is it actually? It's here. Okay, make is Lexus. Or actually here right now we are inside the second page, right? The first one, I think it was Mercedes. Yeah, we will actually make a cross check right now. So now we need to target this make key. Okay, how do we do this? Again, we start with listings, right? Then we go to number 0 because it's the first index, then to the vehicle key, and then to the make key. Okay, this is what we want to do now. So let me go back to my notebook, and first of all we start with the brand. Okay, then this is our starting point, result underscore items. We want to target the element number 0. Okay, we can also run it here, and maybe it's actually a little bit simpler to start from this one. Now we want to go to the vehicle key. Okay, this is it. And finally we have the make. Okay, yep, this is Mercedes-Benz because this result is actually for page number 1, and here we are still inside page number 2. Okay, so don't get confused. Alright, so vehicle, and then we have the make. Alright, and now we have successfully grabbed the brand of the first car. Okay, that's it. Next, what we need to do is we want to grab the, let's see, the model. Okay, want to have the model. That means again we have result underscore items starting with number 0. Run it. Now we need to get access to this vehicle key. So it's vehicle. And 1 second, vehicle. So this, and I need to put it in quotes. And now let's run it again. Okay, now we are here, and I want to have this model here. Okay, this key. So I can just copy that inside the new brackets, and inside the quotes I can paste it, and now we have accessed the model itself. Next, we need to get information about the mileage. Okay, and let's see how to get access to this one. Again, we start with results underscore items, then 0. Again, we need to make use of the vehicle key. And now let's search for the mileage. And the mileage is actually here. Okay, it's this key element. Let me copy that and paste it inside this square brackets and inside this quotes. Okay, now we have accessed this information about the mileage. Now let's search for the year. Okay, again we start with index number 0. Then we want to get the vehicle key. And now let's scroll down and search for the year, okay, of the car. Let's see. So let me take a close look where it actually is. We can also search for it if we are sure it's here, but here I see it. Okay, so this is actually the year key element. Copy that one, and now let me paste it here. And this is, don't forget to comment it. It's the year. Let's run it, and we have 2018, which is correct. And finally we have the information about the price. Okay, let's see how to get access to this one. This is a little bit different. Price, we have result underscore items, number 0. Let's run it, and you will see if you open up this page here, we have more information than just the vehicle, right? So if we start with indexing number 0, we had almost every information inside this vehicle key, and now the pricing information is actually stored inside this pricing key here. And you will see, if I now open this pricing key, that here inside this list price key we have our price. Okay, it's also stored here, member price. Well, it's the same in this example, but now we want to grab this one. Okay, so it's the list price, and it is actually underneath this pricing key. Okay, that means now I go back to the Jupyter. Okay, now let's search for the pricing key. Okay, it's this one. And now I want to get access to, no, it's not this one, member price. We want the list price. Okay, so it's here. Copy that one and make use of the key, or paste the key inside the brackets and inside the quote. Run it, and we have successfully grabbed the price for this car. Okay, so now our 5 data points: brand, model, mileage, year, and price. We actually have extracted the information for our first car. Okay, now it's time to put everything together and run our for loop to get access to the same data points, but for all 30 results. Okay, this is right now the next step, and afterwards we want to have access not to 30 elements but to 5,000. Okay, but actually we need to work step by step, and in the next video we need to write our for loop to get the data for 30 cars. Okay, thanks a lot, stay tuned, and I see you in the next one. Hi everybody, and welcome to part 4 of the advanced level project. Now it's time to write our for loop, because now we want to loop through all 30 results inside the first page and to extract our data. Here in this example, we have actually already done the major work, because we have extracted the data for the first result, okay? And we just need to do a few modifications in order to be able to grab the data for all 30 results, okay? So we will start here. And first of all, I want to create empty lists, okay? So let's say it's brand underscore NY, and NY stands for New York, because as you remember, in the next part, we want to scrape the data for San Francisco. Okay, and now we can distinguish the lists. So first we have brand, then we have the model, then we have the mileage, afterwards the year, and finally the price. Okay, so these are our 5 empty lists, and the logic is actually the same as in the previous videos. We want to loop through the results and append the data inside these empty lists. Okay, so for now I choose again the results word for the iteration variable. So for results, again, this is our iteration variable. In result items, and now let's take a look what the result items is again. Here inside the result items, we have stored actually the results of the first page, okay? And as you can remember, we had the length of 30, okay? I mean, this is here what you see here, but just stored in this variable. Actually, to make this a little bit more visual, let me just run this length function to this variable here. Copy that, paste it here, and you see we have 30 items. Okay, that's it. And if you actually want to make a cross check, what you can do is go back to this preview tab here, okay, and inside this listings you see that we have all the 30 results. Okay, so now we have grabbed this one, and this is actually what we have here inside this expression, and the length is 30. Now we need to loop through all 30 items and append all the data points inside this empty list. Okay, so this is the logic. So again, for result in result items, what I want to do is I want to append to the first list brand underscore ny dot append. And now we start with result. Let's scroll up. Let's see what we have here. And now I can just copy this expression here. Copy that, go back down, paste it here. And don't forget to comment this. And I would say let's just run it and let's see what happens. Okay, let's run it. No error message. And now I want to print out the first result. So it's brand underscore New York. And let's see. And you see here that we have the brands of all 30 cars. Okay. Can run our length function again. And we have 30. Okay. That means this logic we need to apply for all the remaining data points for 30 result items inside the first page. Okay, so this is actually the logic behind this for loop concept. This was number one. Number two, we have the model. That means we need to make use of model ny dot append result. Now let's scroll up and let's see what we have here. Inside the model we have this expression. Copy that. Go back down, paste it here. This is number two. Then we have the mileage. Okay, the mileage ny dot append. Then we have the result. And afterwards we had this expression. And this is why I've told you that the major work is almost done, because now we can refer to the steps we have actually accomplished in the last video. Okay, I've just copied this expression. Go back down, paste it here. This is the next data point. And now let's search for the year. Okay, as always, we start with year underscore ny dot append. Then we have the result. And now we have this expression. Copy that, back down, paste it here. And finally, we have the price. Okay, so it's the price. We start with price underscore ny dot append result. And now I need to copy this expression here. Copy that, go back down, paste it here. Okay, so now this is actually looking quite good. Let's see if we have an error message or not. Let me run it. And we don't have an error message. This is fine. Now let's go ahead and create our pandas data frame and append everything inside this data frame. Okay, let's see how to accomplish it. Let's just say I want to go for, let's say df underscore ny underscore single, because now we have a single page. And here we need to work with a dictionary. Okay, so first we use the pandas data frame, so pd.dataframe, and again pd is the abbreviation, okay, for pandas. It's this one. So let me go down, pd.dataframe, and now we need to work with the dictionary. And for the key, I will just use the data points, for example brand, model, and so on. And as the value, I use our created lists. Okay, so inside each and every list, we have 30 data points or 30 results. Okay, and this is actually part of this value. So we have brand and ny, then we have the model as the key and the model and y list. Afterwards, we have the mileage. Okay, and the mileage and y as the value. Next, we have the year as our key, and the value is year underscore ny. And finally, we have the price, and the value is price underscore ny. Let me just click on enter here. Okay, this is actually more readable. Okay, again, we have this key element. Okay, these are actually our data points which we want to extract, and inside the value part of the dictionary we have appended the created lists. Okay, so first of all, they were empty. And after our for loop, we have appended the results inside each and every of these 5 lists. Now I will run this data frame. We don't have an error message. And in the next step, I want to output it. So let me just run this cell. And you see, guys, now we have successfully grabbed the information for all 30 cars. Okay, starting with index 0 until 29. We have the brand, we have the model, we have the mileage, the year, and the price. Okay, and this is actually what we wanted to have. So this was the for loop for the first result, or for the first page, sorry. And in the next step, we want to have 5,000 results. Okay, that means this is a little bit tricky, but at the end of this tutorial, it will make totally sense. Okay. Now I will pause the video, and in the next step, let's modify our code snippets in order to get 5,000 results and not just 30. Okay, so thank you very much, stay tuned, and I see you in the next one. Hi everybody, and welcome to part number 5 of the advanced level project. Now, since we have actually stored the results from the first page inside this data frame, and all in all we have 30 items or 30 results, now it's time to grab the data of 5,000 or round about 5,000 results. Okay, so this is right now our next mission. And again, this can be seen as something, let's say, as something separate, because we need to make the modifications inside our request here. Okay, and we need actually to copy everything. So let me highlight it, Control A, Control C, and paste it here. Okay, let me paste it here. And now again, you need to see it as something separate, because now we don't want to have page number 1. Now we need to write a for loop and extract the amount of pages, which gives us back in some more or round about 5,000 results. Okay, and let's see actually how the website works or how it behaves. Okay, so here, for example, I am inside the second page. Let's go to page number 3. Let's see, and you see that the URL itself is actually the same, except the fact that this number changes. Okay, let's say I want to go to page number 50. Let's see what happens. Awesome. Now we have result from 1,471 to 1,500. Okay, this is nice. What about result 110? Let's see. Okay, this works. This should be fine. Now let's go to page 170. What happens here? And voila, we have a little bit more than 5,000 results. Okay, and I think this is actually quite good. That means we have this, at this point at least, we have access to page 170, and we know for sure that we get at least 5,000 results. This is actually a very, very necessary information right now. Let's go back to the notebook, and we need to start writing our for loop. It will be, let me just take a look. Let's start here. Okay, so for I in range, okay, 1,170, that means here 170 is actually excluded, but it's actually, yeah, it doesn't matter because we still have 5,000 entries. Okay, that's it. In the next step, what we need to do is, again, we have this iteration variable, which is this I, and now we know that inside this information we have actually the power to replace the existing page. Okay, here we have page number 1, but now we want to have all the pages from 1 until 169. Okay, this is right now our goal. That means I just need to replace this value here. Then we have our iteration variable instead, but I need to cast it inside a string function. Okay, like this, because as you can remember, number 1 was also stored inside a string or a string element, and this iteration variable, which is this one, also has to be a string variable. Okay, this is actually the whole logic behind it. Now I need to make the indentation properly. It's here, and this comment is actually unnecessary. For now, let me just remove it. Okay, this is fine. Now we have our for loop, and here after we have the requests made for a specific website or a specific page, starting from number 1 until 169, we have actually 169 requests, right? That means we have logically 169 responses. And then we also need to create the JSON object for each and every page. Okay, and this is what we need to do right now. So let's take a look how we proceeded in the last videos. So here we started with creating our JSON object. That means I can just copy that one, go back down, paste it here. Okay, so this is our response. This is our JSON object. Okay, next we need to store the result inside a variable, and in this example it was the result underscore items. Okay, because here, as you can remember, we had all our 30 entries for one page. Okay, and now we want to get access to 169 pages. That means actually we will have 169 times 30 results. Okay, let's just copy that one, go back down, paste it here, provide one comment, result items 30 items per page. Okay, and then in the next step what we need to do, and now it comes actually the easy part, now we need to loop through all 30 results. Okay, and as you can remember, it was exactly the same what we have done in our last video. That means here I can just copy that one or this for loop, go back down, paste it here, make sure you have intended everything properly. Okay, highlight it, then shift, and don't forget the empty lists. Okay, let me just go back here, copy this empty lists, now go down again, and before we start our for loop, let's paste our empty lists. Okay, and now this should actually loop right now from page 1 until 169, because 170 is actually excluded. Okay, here we have provided the iteration variable and casted it in a string. Okay, then for each and every page we have the request and the response variable. Then for each page we have the JSON object. And for each page we want to loop through each and every result item. And this is actually the whole logic behind this code snippet here. Now let's cross our fingers and run the cell. And now it will take a few moments, maybe a few minutes, because now we have 169 pages to go through. Okay, and I will pause the video, and then once it's actually finished, I will click on the record button again, and then we will output the data inside the data frame. Stay tuned, and I see you in a few seconds. Okay guys, so the looping process seems to be finished. Now let's scroll down, and we don't have an error message, which is actually quite good to know. And now we want to output our data inside the data frame, and we can actually make use of this cell here, because here in the last video we have already created our data frame. I will just copy that one, and since the names of the lists are exactly the same, yeah, we can just go ahead and use this one. Okay, so I will run this cell, and now let's output everything. Okay, and this, guys, looks actually quite good. You see here we have more than 5,000 rows. That means more than 5,000 results. Okay, and we have 5 data points. Okay, brand, model, mileage, year, and price. And this is actually, yeah, what we want to have. And I would say the mission for the first part is actually yeah, completed. And if you want to do this, you can now output everything inside an Excel file. Let's say, yeah, I can just do it. It's actually not part of my agenda right now, but never mind. Let's just go ahead and do this. So let's say output underscore 5k for 5,000 rows. XLSX, index is actually false. Okay, let me run the cell. And now you need to open up your folder where the Jupyter Notebook is stored. For me, it's this one. This is my file. Double click on this one. Okay, now it's opening. So is it? Yep, it's this one. And you can see here that we have stored our results inside this Excel file here. Okay, and if you have time, you can scroll over and over and over again until we have 5,000 rows. Okay, so this was actually the short demonstration how we can store this inside the Excel file. Okay, and if you want to make this a little bit more pretty, go ahead and do this. Okay, so I would say let's proceed right now, and we shouldn't actually waste too much time because we have actually a lot to do. I want right now to proceed and grab the data for San Francisco. Okay, it was actually the exact same steps. Now we have created our first data frame, which are around about 5,000 results for New York, and we need to apply the same logic right now for San Francisco. So in the next step, that we can actually combine or aggregate these two data frames and output everything inside the PostgreSQL database. Okay, so I will make a cut here, and in the next video again we will grab 5,000 results for San Francisco. Thank you very much, stay tuned, and I see you in the next video. Hi and welcome back to part 6 of the advanced level project. Now it's time to do actually the exact same steps, but for San Francisco. Again, we want to have around about 5,000 results for used cars, but now not in New York anymore, like we did in the last video, but for San Francisco. Okay, and actually now we can save some time. We can directly start with multiple pages. We don't need to go result by result and then loop through the first page and then through multiple pages. Actually, we can save some time and directly start with the pagination to get 5k results. Okay, so let me open the browser, and now I want to look up for cars in San Francisco. Therefore, I go to used car search, and here I need to provide a zip code, and I know for San Francisco it's, for example, 94102. That's it. Let me search for it. And you see here we have a lot of entries. That means 5,000 is not a big deal at all. Again, right click, inspect. Now let me just navigate to the network tab. And I want to go down all the way. Okay, and navigate to page number 2. And you see here, this is actually the request, which is interesting for us. And here again, actually you know all the steps right now, okay? Here inside the listings key element, we have all our 30 results for one specific page, okay? I will just make a right click, copy as curl and CMD, okay? Now I want to go back to my curl converter, replace the old value, that means Control A, remove everything, Ctrl V to paste. And here I want to highlight again the Python request, copy that, and let's go back to the notebook. Okay, it's here. Let's just paste it. Okay, and now what we can do is let's remove the import because we don't need it here. We have already imported the requests library. And now let's start and do our modification. So here again, we have page number 2, and we need to replace it with the exact same value which we have used when we have looped through the pages in New York. Actually, you have actually the exact same logic right now, okay? And I will go ahead and make some copy and paste statements. So here, I want to copy this one, go all the way down and replace number 2 with this iteration variable. Now, what else is missing? Actually, I need to use this for statement. Copy that, go back down, and here I want to paste it and make sure I have intended everything properly. Okay, so highlight everything, shift, and this comment we can actually get rid of. We don't need it. Okay. Was it everything? Almost. And now we don't see any comment anymore. This is good. Next, what do we need? We have to copy this empty lists. Copy that. Let's go back down. And here actually, I want to modify the names. Now we don't have New York anymore, but San Francisco. That means I will use _SF. And SF is actually the abbreviation for San Francisco. I will copy the expression and replace every NY with SF. Okay. That's it. In the next step, I need to copy all this stuff here, okay? Starting with the JSON object, then we have the result items, and then we have the for loop where we loop through each and every list element or result item inside of one page. Okay, and as you can remember, in each and every page we have 30 results. Now let me copy that, and also here we need to do a few modifications. So here I want to copy everything, and I want to provide also the comment here, response, JSON object. This is also fine. And now we also here need to replace this list elements. Okay, so it's not NY anymore, but SF. Oh, sorry for that. Let me go back. I want to replace this one. So brand _ SF. Okay, and now I can just copy this part here, copy that, and replace everything related to New York with San Francisco. Okay, let's do it. Okay, again, we have actually created this empty list here. Now we have, for example, brand _ San Francisco, model _ San Francisco, and in the last example, we had worked with New York. That means the abbreviation was NY. Okay, this for loop is correct. Then let's take a look. We also have managed the iteration variable inside this parameters. And now I think we should be fine. Okay, let me take a clear look. Okay, so now let's cross our fingers and let's run this cell here. Okay, now it will again take a few moments, maybe a few minutes. I will pause the video right now, and once it's done, I will come back to you guys. Okay guys, so the looping process seems to be finished. Let's take a look, and we don't have an error message. What we want to do now is we need to create our new data frame. That means I can just scroll up and copy the old one, copy that, go back down, paste it here, and now make sure you replace everything. And wait 1 second. Actually, why did I not replace the name here? Okay, it's not a big deal right now. So we will just take this one and name it as df_sf_single. I know single right now doesn't make sense because we have multiple pages, but for now we can skip it. It won't molest us. Okay, so we have right now brand _sf, and make sure you replace all ny with sf. So copy that, paste it here, paste it here, paste it here, and paste it here. Okay, again, here you need to have the exact same name of the list, what you have, for example, here, okay, and what was created in the very beginning. Okay, here we have started with an empty list, and through the looping process we have appended the results step by step to this list here. Okay, and of course for all the remaining lists. Now let's cross our fingers, run this cell here. Okay, no error message. And now let's output df_sf single. Let's see, and voila. And again we have a little bit more than 5,000 results. Let's make a short cross check, okay, just out of curiosity. So for San Francisco, the first non-sponsored result is the BMW 3 series. Okay, let's take a look. So it's here. Let's close this one. Now we are at the second page. Let's go to the first page. Okay, this is page number 1. And voila. So this is a paid result. We have sponsored, sponsored, sponsored. These are all paid stuff. And then the first organic stuff is the BMW 3 series. Awesome, guys. This is very, very awesome. And this is actually what we want to have. Okay, so 8,500, 68,000 miles. And this makes completely sense here. Okay, awesome, guys. This is actually crazy. This is nice. So let's sum up everything. We have successfully created a data frame of used cars in New York. We have 5,070 results, and the same we have done for San Francisco. Again, we have 5,070 results. In the next step, what we need to do is we need to combine the data, okay, to append everything, and we afterwards have to output everything in the PostgreSQL. Okay, I would say I make a cut here, and in the next video we start directly merging, okay, or actually putting together both data frames, and then we need to output it in this PostgreSQL database. Okay, stay tuned, thank you very much, and I see you in the next one. Hi and welcome back to part number 7 of the advanced level project. Now, as promised, we have to combine the data frames together. Okay, so let me create a few more cells here. And after we have created the combination of both data frames, we can store it inside an Excel file and then output everything inside the PostgreSQL database. But first of all, let's go ahead and merge the data frames. Okay, so merge data frames, short comment here. Now let's provide a variable. Let's say merged underscore data frames. Okay, so for simplicity reasons, equals to PD. Now again we work with the pandas library, and now we want to use the concat function. So concat, and here inside this square brackets we need to provide the data frames, this one, okay, and this one. Okay, let me just copy this. New York first. Actually doesn't matter what data frame you choose first, but actually I want this to be my first element, and the second one is the df sf single. Okay, again, this is the data frame for New York, this is the data frame for San Francisco, which is this one. Okay, and finally we want to ignore the index. Ignore index is true. Okay, let's see what we get. Let's run it. Okay, no error messages. And now let's output everything. Merged data frames. And voila, you see that now we have 10,140 rows. Okay, this is right now the combined data frame. And I would say let's go ahead and output everything inside Excel, or save everything inside an Excel file. But before we proceed, I would suggest, here you see inside this price column, here we have floats, okay? And before we move everything to the PostgreSQL database, I would say let's convert this float to an integer, okay? And this would also show you at least a little bit of the data cleaning part or the data manipulation part, however you want to call it. But for now, I want to store this float element, or to change this float element to an integer. Let's see how to get there. So first of all, we need to target the data frame, merged data frames, and here I need to provide the column name. Okay. Then we use the sType function, and now I need to provide in quotes int 64. Okay, that's it. Let me just run it. Okay, now we have an error message. Let's see what we have. Prices. Okay, it's my mistake. We have just price. The column is not prices. Okay, this one. It's singular. Run it again. And you see here, now we have an integer. So for example, here we have 29,901.0. Here we just have 29,901. And you can make a cross check. The data type is integer. Okay. And now we need to replace the old column with the modified column. That means I want to copy this expression here, copy that, paste it here, add one equal sign, and now this should be it. Let's run it, and now let's output the updated data frame. Okay, let's do it. That means merged data frames. Okay, let's see, and voila, now we have successfully converted the floats to an integer. Okay, this should be fine. In the next step, I want to save everything inside an Excel file. That means we use the merged data frames to_Excel. And now let's provide one name. Let's say merged_dataframes.xlsx. And we want to ignore the index here, okay? Oh, sorry. Index is false. My mistake. Index should be false here inside this argument. Run this cell. No error message. This is great. And now let's see what we have. Actually, it's this file here. Okay. Double click on that. And now let's take a look at our final data. And you will see here that actually we have a lot of data. As you can remember, more than 10,000 rows, okay? And voila, you can keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And finally, you reach this step, and this is the last line. And you see here we have more than 10,000 rows, okay? And this is actually it. So, for now, you can save this Excel file, and yeah, so let's leave it. Open up again our Jupyter notebook. And in the next step, what we need to do is we need to output this data frame inside the PostgreSQL database. and run, let's say, 2, 3, or 4 different SQL commands on this extracted data. Okay, but first of all, we need to install Postgres itself, and this will be actually part of the next video. So I would say stay tuned, thank you very much, and I see you in a few seconds. Hi everybody, and welcome back to part 8 of the advanced level project. Now it's time to install the PostgreSQL database, because as I told you, we want to output our data frame inside the database and run a few SQL queries. So here right now I'm on Google and I need to search for the PostgreSQL, hit enter, and make sure you click on this link here. It's directly from the PostgreSQL website. Click on that and then click on download, and make sure you choose your correct operating system. So for me it's the Windows. And now here, this is actually the link we need to click on. Okay, so it's download the installer, click on that, and for me I use the latest version right now. For Windows, click on download here, and now just start the download, and yeah, maybe grab a tea, a coffee, because now you need to wait a few moments until it's done. And I guess I can pause the video for a few seconds, and once it's downloaded I will come back to you guys. Alright, my download is actually completed right now. Here I can open the folder. Okay, and this is actually the download folder. And you will see here we have the PostgreSQL application. Let's click on that. Click on yes. And now this whole installation process will start. Let's give it a few seconds. Okay, so now you will see this window here. Click on next. Click on next. And make sure all these 4 options are selected. Okay, especially the pgadmin 4. This will be actually very important when we work with the user interface of the database. Okay, now click again on next. Next, and here you will be asked to choose a password, and this is right now the essential step. Okay, so for simplicity reasons, let me go and choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sure, you can use whatever password you want to. Okay, make sure you don't forget it. That's it. But now let me just retype it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, next. And here you have a default port number. Okay, you can leave it like this, but also just don't forget it. Okay, then next, just click on next, and now actually you don't need to change anything. Just click on next until this installation process here appears. So I will pause the video again and I see you guys in a few moments. Alright, so the installation process is done. You just can click on finish. And now in the next step, actually the stack builder right now is not necessary for us. So what we can do is just click on cancel, and then you can just close the stack builder itself. In the next step, we need to find the PostgreSQL folder. So here I am at Windows 10 and I need to click on start. And then here I can just scroll down and search for the letter P. It's that one, and you see we have this folder PostgreSQL with the version of 13. And here you see that we have the pgadmin 4, and this will actually be the interface for our database. Click on that one. And now it will take a few seconds until the loading process is finished. And I will say I can just pause the video and I get back to you in a few seconds. Alright, so the loading process is done. And here we are asked for the password. Okay, and as I told you, don't forget your current password, just type it in. And then click on OK. And in the next step, you need to open this servers. Okay, let me just open it. And you will see that now we have here a small red cross. That means the connection is not established yet. And here we are asked again for the password. Go ahead and type it in. If you want to save it, if you don't want to, you don't need to save it, just click on OK. And now you see here that on the left side we have the database and with all these different things here. Okay, so this was actually the installation process. And the next step, what we have to do is we have to output our data frame in this database here, okay? And then run a few SQL queries. So stay tuned and I see you in the next video. Hi everybody and welcome to part number 9 of this advanced level project. And this is also the last part of this whole tutorial. Okay, so now if you are inside the PG admin interface, which is the interface for the PostgreSQL database, and you have provided the password like we did in the last video, you see here that now we see this structure here, okay? If you want to, you can click a little bit around, play with all the stuff here. But for now, what is important is you need, so if it's closed, you need to open it, okay? Then choose the database. Then you need to go down, and here inside this public tab, you see that if you scroll down, not scroll down, but if you go down with your mouse, you see that here are the tables. Okay, and now if I click on this, we don't have anything. And now it's actually time to us, or for us, to connect the Jupyter notebook with this interface here. Okay, now let's take a look how to do this. So first of all, before we run any commands in our notebook, we need to install the schlee-alchemy in the command prompt. So here I will open this command prompt and type in pip install SQL and then alchemy. Okay, this is right now very important. Let's run it. And for me, I've already have this package here. This is why I get this notification that the requirement is already satisfied. Okay, but make sure you do this. Then let's open up again our notebook. Okay, and here again we have our data with more than 10,000 results. In the next step, we need to import a package from this schlee-alchemy library. But actually I want to have all the imports here inside the first cell. That means I scroll down all the way, and then I want to import from schlee-alchemy. Okay, import the create engine, this one. Okay, again from schlee-alchemy import create underscore engine, run the cell, then go back down again. And now in the next step, we need to provide one variable. It's the engine variable. Okay, then we use the create engine, which we have imported a few seconds ago. Create engine, and then you need to type in inside quotes postgres, okay, postgres colon / again postgres colon, then your password. As you can remember, the password for this project, which I have chosen, was 12345. Okay, that's it. In the next step, add, then type in localhost. And as you can remember, we had this localhost during our installation. And this is also why I mentioned to you, don't forget it, because now it's important. So the localhost here was 5432. Okay, and this is actually step number 1. Here we have created our engine, and in the next step what we need to do is we need to reference to, maybe let me just insert another cell, okay, to have a line break, let's say. And now I need to refer actually to this data frame, okay, because here inside this data frame we have our 10,000 results, or 10,140. okay, and this is right now our data frame we need to use. That means here underneath the engine I want to write down merged data frames, okay, dot to underscore SQL or SQL. Then we need to provide a name, and the logic is actually the same which we had here when we have stored everything inside the Excel. Okay, again we have used the toExcel method, and here we have provided the name. The same we do when we want to output the data frame inside the database. Again we have our data frame, then we use the toSQL function. Here what we need to do is we need to provide a name of the table, which we will see inside the Postgres. Let's just say cars underscore results. Okay, so this is right now the name of our table in our interface. Okay, then comma and engine, and this should be actually fine. So for example, let's take a look and let's see what happens if I provide the wrong password. For example, here let's just add XXX. Okay, run the cell and you will see that now, let's take a look, password authentication failed. Okay, so actually this password, yeah, doesn't work. Now let me just remove this 3 letters, and this is actually the right password. And now I will run the cell again with the right password, and let's see what happens. And now we don't face any error messages anymore. And with this cell, actually the connection to the PostgreSQL database should be established. Now let's open the pgadmin. Again, this is the interface. And as you can remember, when we have provided the password here in the beginning, afterwards we had access to this servers. And if you go down, you will see that underneath this schemas and underneath the public tab, we have the tables. Okay, for now it's empty. Okay, we don't see anything. But go ahead and make a right click and then click on refresh. And you see here, voila, that now we have the cars underscore results table. Again, it's exactly the name we have provided here when we have established the connection. And this is actually it. Let's take a look at the columns. We start with the index, and then we have brand, model, mileage, year and price, which is exactly the same what we see here. Brand, model, mileage, year and price. And now let's go ahead and run a few simple SQL commands. Actually, this is not a SQL course. I just want to run 2 or 3 different commands in order to show you that we can actually use the SQL commands for the data we have extracted in this project. Okay, now I want to click on this query tool. Okay, this is it. And our first command should actually give us back every result. So that means I will use select star from cars underscore results. And now let me just run this cell here. And voila, you see that now we have all our data. Okay, this is it. So this is actually our data frame, but now you see it not inside the notebook, not inside the Excel, but inside the interface of the PostgreSQL database. I would say congratulations guys, this is actually awesome. So this is number 1, or our first command. Next, what I want to do is, let's say I want to search for a Jeep, okay, and the year of production must be at least 2015 and not older. Okay, again, Jeep we have here underneath the brand. Okay, and the year of production we have here inside this column. Okay, that means I go for select a star from cars underscore results, where the brand is Jeep. And first, let's see what we get here. Let's run this command. Here we have all entries with a Jeep. Okay. And then our SQL requirement is that the mileage, not the mileage, but the year. 1 second. The year is higher or equal than 2015. Let's see if this works. Okay, so it did. And you can see here that now we have all entries with Jeeps, which year of production is not older than 2015. You see that here, for example, we have 2015, here 2015 too, but you won't find anything what is actually lower than 2015. Okay, that's it. So this was our second command. Our next command, let's say we want to search for Lexus cars, okay, and the amount of miles must be lower than 30,000. And here actually we can leave this statement like this and just replace a Jeep with a Lexus, and the column name here for mileage is this one, right? Mileage. So make sure you spell it correctly. Mileage. And it actually should be lower or equal 30,000. Okay. Again, we want to be given out all Lexus cars with equal or lower miles than 30,000. Okay, that's it. Let's run it. And you see here we have just Lexus cars right now. And you won't see any entry here which is bigger or higher than 30,000. Okay, that's it. Next one, we want to search for Mercedes-Benz cars, which price is actually maximum 45,000. Okay, again, the statement will be the same. Just replace Lexus with Mercedes-Benz. And here we need to replace mileage with price, because now we want to target this price column. Okay, and it should be not higher than 45,000. That means 45 is maximum. That's it. Let's run it. Now you see here that we have all the Mercedes-Benz entries. Okay, and the price is never higher than 45,000. This could be achieved with this command here. Okay, so this was actually it, guys, for this whole tutorial. If you have any kind of questions, please let me know directly in the Q&A forum. It was a pleasure to work together with you. And again, please refer to me if something wasn't clear. For all other cases, please stay safe, be healthy. I wish you all the best, and I see you in one of the upcoming tutorials. Bye bye.